So comparing Swedish and Jamaican history. Jamaica's history began for about 4,000 years ago when the indigenous Jamaicans canoed from Belize and the Yucatan Peninsula to Jamaica. The Tainos are an Arawak-speaking people and they colonized large areas of the Caribbean. They named Jamaica Xamaka, which means Isle of Springs in Arawakan. Sweden, on the other hand, got its first inhabitants for about 10,700 years ago. The people came to Sweden after the last ice age from southwest Europe. In 1509, Christopher Columbus' second voyage to the New World reached Jamaica. When they got there, they didn't find any reason to settle because they didn't have enough good gold mines there. But Jamaica was a well-populated island, so they used Jamaica to get slaves to mine gold in other parts of Hispaniola. In 1523, the Spanish finally settled. The Spanish turned Jamaica into an agriculture colony. They farmed tobacco and cocoa. To start their business, they needed more labor, so they imported West African slaves. Sweden was never really colonized, but we were part of Kalmar Union. The members of the Kalmar Union were Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. In 1520, a civil war broke out in the Kalmar Union because of a Stockholm bloodbath where the Danish executed 80 Swedish nobles. In 1523, Sweden gains independence. Sweden was more about colonizing than being colonized. Sweden had a few colonies, the larger ones being Finland, Norway, and Estonia. We also had some smaller colonies like New Sweden in America and Fort Christiansburg in Africa, but these colonies either got purchased or occupied by big colonial powers. In 1655, Great Britain invaded Jamaica and kicked out the Spanish. This is the reason why they speak English, has English as an official language in Jamaica today. During the invasion, a lot of slaves took the opportunity to escape the plantation to the hills and mountains of Jamaica. There they associated with the Tainos and formed the Maroon settlements. In 1670, the Great Britain won the war against Spain and gained ownership over Jamaica. The demand for agricultural products from Jamaica rised, and the Brits needed more labor, so they imported even more slaves from West Africa and turned Jamaica into a major location for slave trading in the Caribbean. The Maroons were a well-organized people with West African values and traditions. They constantly grew larger because of the slaves escaping from the plantations, and over time they got used to the island's terrain. The Maroon often raided British plantation. This threatened the British plantation owners' economy. This resulted in the First Maroon War. The war were between 1728 and 1739. After the war, the relations between the Maroon and the British were quite good. The Brits even employed Maroons to hunt slave escapees, but in 1791 the British made laws that gave Maroons less rights, and in 1795 the Second Maroon War broke out because of two Maroons trying to steal 2 hogs from a British plantation. The British got assistance from Cuba and the Maroons surrendered in late 1795. On December 25th, 1831, the Baptist War broke out. The Baptist War was a rebellion by a military group named the Black Regiment. The rebellion freed 60,000 out of Jamaica's 300,000 slaves. The Black Regiment burned down the slave owners' plantations and cane fields. The rebellion ended in early 1832, but there was still guerrilla groups fighting for the abolishment of slavery. In 1833, Great Britain abolished slavery, and fast forward to 1962, the Jamaican people got the opportunity to vote for or against Jamaican independence. Jamaica gained its independence and they replaced their old flag with their current flag. Sweden also participated in wars, a lot of wars actually, much more than Jamaica, for instance. For example, Sweden and Denmark are the two countries who had declared the most war against each other. One of the most known wars are the 30 Years' War, where Sweden entered in the 1630s and attacked the Holy Roman Empire to liberate Protestant areas from Catholic rule. This made other Protestants to join Sweden in its fight against the Holy Roman Empire. Sweden also fought in the Great Northern War that occurred 1700 to 1721. In the Great Northern War, other European superpowers tested Sweden as a superpower. In the war we fought against Denmark, Saxony, Poland, and Russia. The outcome of the war was that Sweden lost all its colonies and all territory outside of Sweden. And in 1718, Karl the 12th of Sweden died in a firefight in Norway. This confirmed the end of the Swedish superpower. Sweden also had a more peaceful liberation. In the beginning of the 20th century, loads of changes occurred in Sweden. In 1909, men got the right to vote, and in 1919, women also got the right to vote. And the first democratic election was held in 1921. But in Jamaica, people tend to fight for their rights instead of getting them.